At the ceremonial weigh-in today for their highly anticipated showdown this Saturday, April 26th in London, Chris Eubank Jr. locked eyes with Conor Benn in a stare that spoke volumes, an angry, burning glare that could have melted steel. This wasn't just the usual pre-fight tension, this was personal. Eubank Jr. wasn't just looking at Benn, he was sending a message, loud and clear. This stare, it was a warning, a promise even. He's not just coming for Benn on fight night, he's going to punish him, make him feel every bit of the pain Eubank Jr. is about to dish out, and then some. This wasn't just about winning, it was about making Benn regret ever stepping into the ring with him. It was hard not to feel a little sorry for Conor Benn in that moment. Eubank Jr. looked like a man on a mission, the kind of man who's been wronged and now wants nothing more than to take it out on his opponent in the most brutal way possible. It's clear Eubank Jr. is pissed, and who could blame him? Benn, along with his promoter, Eddie Hearn, didn't hold back when they mocked Eubank Jr. for coming in over the 160-pound limit. Sure, it was only half an ounce over the weight limit, but it still cost Eubank Jr. big time. A $500,000 fine, to be exact. And all that money? It's now going straight into Benn's pocket. It wasn't just about the... Eubank Jr. knows it's not about the money for Benn. It's the principle. Being publicly called out for something like that, it's personal, and Eubank Jr. hates being made a fool of. Benn, of course, is loving every minute of it. With a cheeky post on X, he wasted no time rubbing the salt in, mocking Eubank Jr. for the weight miss, and making it clear, show me the mother from my money. You can almost hear the smugness in his voice. Not only did he get the satisfaction of watching his rival squirm, but now he's walking away with an extra $500,000 on top of the massive $10 million payday he was already set to make for this 12-round main event. But if Benn thinks this is just about money, or even about the public spectacle, he's in for a rude awakening. Saturday night, that's when Eubank Jr. gets his revenge, and when he rehydrates, Eubank Jr. is going to be a force, bigger, stronger, and angrier than ever before. Benn, on the other hand, is stepping into the ring with a middleweight monster, and honestly, he's out of it. The difference in size, strength, and experience between these two fighters is almost laughable. Benn might have been impressive in his 23-0 record so far, but let's be real, he hasn't faced anyone like Eubank Jr., and that's where the real problem lies. Benn's been fighting at welterweight for most of his career, and now at 28, he's stepping up to face someone who's truly a middleweight, someone who's been in the ring with top-tier opponents and proven he belonged the top of the game. Benn simply doesn't have the size, the power, or the skill to hang with someone like Eubank. You have to wonder what Eddie Hearn is thinking behind the scenes. If he really believed in Benn's abilities, wouldn't he have pushed him to fight against real contenders at 147? Why has Benn, despite being a pro for nearly a decade, never fought anyone who could truly challenge him? He's never faced a contender who's actually dangerous. Why? Because the whole thing is a setup. Benn is being built up, not on his own merits, but on the legacy of his famous father, Nigel Benn. It's all smoke and mirrors. A carefully orchestrated hype train designed to make money, not to produce a genuine champion. This fight, it's a spectacle, not a real test of Benn's skill. The question now is whether Benn has the guts to step up, or whether Eubank Jr. is going to expose him for what he really is. A creation of the media, a fighter who's never had to prove himself against the best. This Saturday, all the hype and all the drama are going to meet reality in that room. And if you're expecting a fight where Benn surprises everyone with his speed, power, and heart, don't hold your breath. The reality is Eubank Jr. is going to walk right through him, and the only thing left will be Benn's bruised pride and a $500K check in his pocket. As the countdown to fight night gets closer, the tension between these two fighters is palpable. You can feel it in the air every time they face off, every time they exchange words, or even when their eyes lock. Eubank Jr. isn't just fighting for a win on Saturday, he's fighting for respect. He's fighting for the validation that comes with proving that he's the real deal, and that Benn, for all the hype around, simply doesn't belong in the ring with. Eubank Jr. has heard the whisper, seen the social media posts, and watched as Benn's name continues to rise, buoyed by the legacy of his famous father. For Eubank Jr., this fight is about silencing the doubters and showing the world that he's the one who deserves to be in the spotlight, not Benn. And let's not forget that Eubank Jr. isn't just fighting for his own reputation here, he's also fighting for his family name. The Eubank legacy is built built on a foundation of toughness, grit, and never backing down from a challenge. Chris has lived in the shadow of his father, Chris Eubank Sr., a boxing legend who commanded respect and admiration from all corners of the globe. But in the eyes of many, Chris Jr. still has something to prove. This fight isn't just about money or title. It's about carrying the weight of that legacy, about living up to the name that has become synonymous with boxing great. He's ready to step out from his father's shadow and claim his own place in history. And that means putting an end to Ben's rise once and for all. For Ben, this fight represents the culmination of years of carefully constructed hype. He's had the spotlight on him for most of his career, thanks to the backing of Eddie Hearn and the power of his father's legacy. But there's always been a sense that people are waiting for him to prove himself. His undefeated record looks impressive, but the truth is, he's never fought anyone at the level of Eubank. Before he can truly claim to be the next big thing in boxing, Ben needs to overcome this massive hurdle. Beating Eubank Jr. would catapult him into the upper echelons of the sport and solidify his place as a serious contender. But if he falls short, he risks being exposed for what he is, a fighter built on hype and legacy, but lacking the substance to back it up. Eubank Jr. knows this all too well, which is why he's treating this fight as more than just another night. In the ring, he's viewing it as a defining moment, a chance to erase any doubts about his ability to compete with the best. Every punch he throws, every round he dominates, will be a statement to the world. He's not just fighting Ben, he's fighting the entire narrative that has been constructed around Ben's rise. If Eubank Jr. dominates on Saturday night, it won't just be a win, it'll be a statement that sends shockwaves through the sport and forces everyone to acknowledge that he's the real deal. But Ben isn't going to just roll over and accept his fate. He's got pride, and he's got a point to prove. This fight is the opportunity of a lifetime, and he knows it. Ben's camp will be doing everything in their power to make sure that he comes out on top. He's been working hard to prepare for the biggest challenge of his career, and he'll be coming into that ring with everything he's got. But the question remains, will it be enough? When the bell rings and the fight is on, will Ben be able to hang with Eubank Jr.? Or will he be exposed as the product of a carefully crafted illusion, someone who doesn't truly belong in the upper echelons of boxing?